USC Main Auditorium has had some fun memories for so many. My personal recollection this year has been the Portrait of Excellence, just a few weeks before the fire occurred. To see how that facility was transformed and brought so much joy and excitement to the audience and so much creativity and innovation from our students was really amazing. And to know that that building is no more, it's a sad experience. For me personally, it was deja vu. For 40 years ago, I was on this campus when another of our auditorium buildings was burned to the ground. I remember it clearly as it was a week ago, for I was the newspaper editor at the time and had to write about the destruction of that auditorium. But you know, the words from the president then, 40 years ago, Dr. Bernard Ben, has brought comfort to me now as I lead out in dealing with this particular incident. Dr. Ben, at the staff and faculty and students meeting the next day after the fire 40 years ago, began with the words, "We Seventh-day Adventists are a strange people. For here we are with our chapel burnt to the ground, and we're praising God."
Out of the rubble, out of the ash, we've dug up the memories we knew would last. And so these with you today we share, as in our hearts we hold them very dear. A house of memories, a church, a chapel, an auditorium, and even a classroom. Yes, believe it or not, this sturdy building has served as all of these over the last 40 years. Many have passed through its walls and shared special times with friends, faculty, staff, and even loved ones. From weddings to funerals, and church service to classes, the main auditorium has been one in a million. As we reminisce on the good days gone, we take pride in the fact that so many ordinary men and women were able to be transformed into extraordinary servants of God to humanity through the holistic tertiary education offered at USC. It was just a building, you may add. Why all the fuss? Let's spend a few minutes to talk about why this was no ordinary building.
That auditorium holds so many memories, not only for me, but I know a lot of my friends who grew up on the campus. I remember when Pine Forge Choir came to Trinidad and they had their concert, and John Stoddard was playing on the piano, and we've never heard the piano play like that, and everybody was saying, "Oh my goodness, he mashed up his whole piano." But it was an amazing concert, not only Pine Forge but Aeolians, which we had later on last year. USC's auditorium, as I said, holds many, many memories that will stay with me for a lifetime.
That moved it from the backbench or from behind the scenes to becoming a focal point of the university, and where we had all our activities, from orientation to registration to graduation. You know, I remember students coming for registration and the frustration on their faces and trying to walk them through the process. I remember walking into the auditorium and seeing it transformed for all the special occasions, you know, all the musical concerts and President's Convocation, sitting in eager anticipation for the crowning of Mr. and Mrs. USC. I remember that, and even kneeling at the altar, you know, in that spiritual services that we have, Vespers and church. So there's so many varied experiences at the chapel, as we call it, at the chapel.
While we accept that the events of April 26th may indeed have been a blessing in disguise, we look back, not regretfully, but joyfully and in anticipation, knowing that God has a much bigger plan, and what the devil meant for evil, he will turn into good.
We are committed now to moving on, because we believe that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. And so we are now focused on rebuilding from the ashes. We already have plans for the erection of a spanking new auditorium that will accommodate 4,000 students, faculty, staff in our community. This will address our growing needs for years to come. It is our hope that our friends and supporters will join us in this endeavor so that the necessary funding could come together to make this dream a reality.
It's amazing how the loss of one building led to the creations of an invaluable memoir of experiences on a social networking site. Rekindled lost friendships and strengthened the bond between members of the USC community. It's amazing how time changes everything. It's also amazing how even the funniest of events are still funny years after they've transpired. But it's ever so amazing how some things never change. However, while the auditorium is gone, we still remain the same. Our identity we'll forever maintain. With God before us, our goals in focus, we'll keep moving forward. CUCians and USCians beyond excellence.